Hi there, how you doing? It's been a bit. Today I'm going to tell you the story about how I broke my foot at a cosplay picnic. In honor of this story, I thought I would do a Mettaton inspired look. So that is what this is. Obviously not 100%, but it felt so good to be doing Mettaton makeup again, even if it's just inspired by him. I still absolutely adore Mettaton and Undertale. I'm just not as unhinged about it anymore. If anyone here remembers my Mettaton cosplay or the shenanigans I got up to back in the day, drop a comment down below. Just don't go into too much detail because I am actively trying to repress a lot of it. I'm kidding. I'm absolutely 100% kidding. That was a fun cosplay phase for me, and that is why we are going to be talking about one of my favorite stories, because it's a lot. So if that sounds like something you're into, keep on watching. So the start to this story is much like any story, and it is me actually getting ready to go to the convention, or the picnic in this case. I was going to take a train and go to the event with someone I knew back in the day. So a great thing about where I live is that we do not have active train service all year, or at least we didn't back in the day. I'm not sure how it is now, and honestly I don't care to check because it's unreliable at best. So without trains, I had to get my mom to drive me about 40 minutes out to the nearest train station. I woke up at 4:30 on this day. That was pretty uneventful. There was some funny stuff around town. My city's unhinged. The theme for this story is that everything leading up to the event and what happened at the event, everything's unhinged. This entire phase of my life was entirely unhinged, and that is the best way I can describe it. So I still wasn't used to taking trains at this time, and I was very unaware of a lot of the protocols and what to do in certain situations. I get to the back of the train because I'm antisocial and I don't want to talk to anyone, right? Turns out that my stop in this place that I had never been before was one of the stops that had construction going on. So that meant I had to make my way to the front of the train in order to get off, because the doors would not open where I was. So that in itself was anxiety inducing enough. Remember, this is 2016, so this is years ago. I was much younger then. I didn't know a lot about transit like I do now, but it was it was a lot. It was a lot for little me, who didn't really get out much and who didn't do things on their own, right? I was always with someone when going to these events. While I wasn't going to the event itself, I was still lugging around all of my costume stuff. I didn't have my makeup on or anything, so I had everything with me, and I had to somehow get to the front of this train. I wanted to preface it by saying I was an idiot, because I was, and I did not know certain things like opening the doors. For whatever reason, the doors wouldn't work for me. I followed the instructions, they just wouldn't open for me. So I make it. I make it to the front of the train and I get off. And everything's fine, everything's how it should be. I get to my destination and I get ready for the event. Back then I used Mayron's Fantasy Effects face paint, I think that's what it was called, and I don't know if it was the product or if it was me, but that stuff was cakey and it came off very easily. I am very glad I was recommended Mayron's AQ, I believe it's called. So everything seemed right in the world. We are ready and we are going to head out. And I had spent a few weeks making my costume. I was doing Chef Mettaton, actually. I don't think I mentioned that before, but I was doing Chef Mettaton, and I had purchased this apron and a chef's hat that I had taken fabric markers to. I was really excited to show off what I did, and I lost my hat. I lost my hat walking from the apartment building to the car. And we weren't going back for it. We just kept going, and I was devastated. I was absolutely devastated. Back then, I wasn't the type of person I am now, where I would be adamant about trying to find my stuff. I was a people pleaser, so I really didn't want to make a big deal about it. But I was upset, and I felt as though my entire costume was ruined at that point. And I had a paid photo shoot that I purchased for myself and this other person, and I wasn't gonna have my hat. So I feel like you can actually see just how dead I am inside in a lot of the pictures. And that's not even due to what happens, but yeah, we were not off to a good start. So I've only been to 2 cosplay picnics in my life. One was the High Park one, which is the one I'm talking about, and the other was the Center Island, both in Toronto. So I did my first photo shoot, and I actually don't remember how it happened. I think we were just hanging out. Like, it's very chill. There's nothing really to do except talk to people and make friends. So I was talking to someone, and the thing about the boots is that they're platforms, right? I was doing pretty okay. Like, I actually, here, these are the boys that absolutely ruined. It's particularly this one. This one absolutely destroyed my foot. And yeah, so you can see platforms. I was pretty okay with them, even with how clumsy I was and unpracticed with heels. But every so often, my foot would slide out from under me. Like, let's say this is my foot would slide off of the platform. So every so often I would just break my ankle. And before then, it was never really a problem. It would just be something I did, and then I'd be like, I'm fine, and then everything would go on. This time, however, I heard a crack, and everyone else heard a crack too. I remember everyone in the general vicinity turning to look at me, and it hurt. It hurt really bad, and initially I didn't think much of it because it had happened before, and again, I was young and stupid, and I wanted to have fun at this event that it was like, I don't even know, like barely noon, and so much had happened, and I just wanted to continue to chat with people and make friends and do my photo shoots, so, you know, I didn't really think of it. It hurt though, and I think in the next 2 photo shoots that I continued to do, because that's the punchline of this whole story, is that I continued to do photo shoots. I did not take off the shoes and go home like I should have. I didn't have an extra pair of shoes either, so I was kind of stuck. In a few of the pictures, you can actually see me suffering, like my feet are kind of turned in a weird way. It was the left foot that actually had the break. You can see I kind of tried to lift that one up in particular because it hurt, and just put most of my weight on the other one. But obviously, I don't know. I don't think any of the pictures turned out particularly good from this event, but it is what it is, and it makes for a good story. So throughout the day, it started getting worse, and I was afraid that if I took the boot off, I would not be able to get it back on, because I could feel that my foot was swelling. So it started getting later, and everyone started leaving, and then it hit me that I was gonna have to go on transit. So I was getting desperate. Eventually, I swallowed my pride, and I called my mother. And I said, Mom, I think my foot's broken, and I can't get on transit. I don't have any extra pair of shoes, like you've told me millions of times to bring an extra pair of shoes. I did not. And so my poor mother had to pick me up. She had to drive an hour into Toronto and pick me up. It's funny, I don't actually remember a lot of the ride back. I don't remember even getting into the car. I don't remember a lot of things. Like, I can kind of piece it together, but I think I was just in so much shock. I was high on adrenaline, and I was just so upset from the events of that day that I don't really remember a lot of it. Oh, also in that hour, I did end up taking the boots off, and surprise, surprise, I couldn't get them back on, so I was walking in my socks. After we get home, I end up sleeping on the couch the entire night, just because I was at the point where I didn't want to go upstairs. I just wanted to lay on the couch. I had a bag of corn, I believe, on my foot, icing it. So it was really early in the morning when I finally decided that I needed medical attention. And I know that I should have done it earlier, but I was adamant that I was just gonna sleep through the night and we'd see in the morning. At around 3 or 4, it was a lot. Like, I was in a lot of pain. So We ended up going to the hospital, and I was informed that I did in fact fracture my foot. Telling the story of how it happened to the doctors was very embarrassing. I think they enjoyed it. It was quite unorthodox. I don't really think they see a lot of that coming through. Basically, I broke my foot in go-go boots, cosplaying a robot. Oh, but it does not end there. I, being the unhinged idiot that I am, decided that I was gonna get back into cosplay a few days later. I made this whole big deal about how I wasn't gonna put on the boots because I had a bunch of people yelling at me, like, don't put the boots on. And I was like, yes, I'm not gonna put the boots on. So I cosplayed a little bit, and then I believe just over a week later, I ended up putting on the boots again. Before anyone comes at me, I actually went out in normal shoes and then I put the boots on. It was just in my backyard, so it wasn't that bad, but I still shouldn't have done it. I want to explain the aftermath of this entire thing and how it still affects me to this day, and basically my message to cosplayers everywhere that you should not prioritize costumes or photo shoots over your physical, mental, or emotional health. So here's the trigger warning right now. Trigger warning, big trigger warning. You can skip to this timestamp if you do not want to hear what it is I still experience to this day, because I don't think it healed properly. So every so often, I'll get pains in that area. The break was on the outside of my foot. So every so often, it kind of feels like a little, like a crunch. Like I can feel crunching, and it's not painful or anything. Sometimes it'll throb or it'll get a little like a dull ache, but yeah, I feel it crunches sometimes, and I don't know what that is, but I can only assume it's because I continued to wear the boots and then went to Anime North and another convention after that. Like I said before, my Mettaton phase was so unhinged, and so was I. So this is a cautionary tale. Don't do what I did, kids. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's not worth it. I still get very scared when I wear the boots. I am still worried that I'm going to fall and break it again. I think that's probably one of the reasons why I strayed away from Mettaton a little bit. That said, I would like to cosplay him again. Like, even doing this look was a lot of fun. I really do love Undertale and I love Mettaton, but I also love my life. So with that all said, I hope you enjoyed this story. Please comment down below if you've ever had any cosplay related injuries. Let me know if you made any bad life choices like I did, or just talk to me. Please subscribe if you're interested in seeing more, and leave me a like if you liked the video. So with that, I hope you have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.